Hey everyone, Dan at Ochco Bushcraft. I wanted to share this cool find with you guys, and I thought it would be a great place to give you a tip on staying warm or how to get warm if you've lost your heat and got chilled using a candle and an emergency blanket, and also to try a little experiment that I've been wanting to try for a long time. So I got to show you this. I found this stump, and the whole inside of it is burnt out. So this is actually a great place for an emergency shelter or for a fire. Put your emergency blanket back against this stump, build a fire right here in front, and catch all of that heat around. And then I actually laid a couple poles up here. It would be really easy to extend the blanket up over your head or to lay some more poles across and throw some tree boughs on. And this is actually, I would be curled up, which is fine, but it's actually big enough to lay in here. But I thought this would be a cool spot to, again, give you guys a quick tip and also to do a little experiment. So I'm going to take off some of my winter clothing and deliberately get myself cooled down. So let me pause you while I do that. Okay, I took off my fleece shirt and my heavy wool layer, so I've just got a t-shirt, my light layer, and my medium on, and I definitely feel the temperature change. It's chilly out here, and I can feel it now. So here's a way to get yourself warm in an emergency. Maybe for some reason you're not able to do a fire. It's another option. It's another skill. It's something to put in your toolbox. I always got an SOL heat sheet with me. I have used this one multiple times. This is the one we just did the survival lean-to with. I just keep folding it back up, stuffing it in my sack, and reusing it. So I also have an Exotac emergency candle. This is the 16-hour. There's also a 6-hour, which takes up a lot less room. 3 candles. Some type of an emergency candle in your pack in winter situations can be a lifesaver. And then it's below freezing, so I'm using that trick. I've got a lighter down my shirt next to my body, staying warm, so when I pull that out it will light. I tried to light it a little bit ago and nothing, absolutely not even a spark, so it's definitely cold. So obviously, emergency, first thing I could do is wrap up in this, try to get some heat back. This is the SOL heat sheet again, which, unlike Mylar blankets, is much stronger and will not tear. And if you poke a hole in it, the hole won't start tearing out. So, first thing I could do right now is, if I was chilled, is just wrap this around me and enclose myself up in it. And it would reflect some of my heat back on me. But what we're going to do is we're going to try a little something with a candle. So I might have to set you guys up just a little different. Underneath me, by the way, is my reflective mat. Now, I always have a folding reflective pad on the bottom of my pack. It's just an extra piece of gear attached to the outside that weighs nothing. These things are very lightweight, but I'm very comfortable right now on my knees in the snow on this pad. If you don't carry a pad with you and you're traveling, get home bag, for example, or out here hiking, every time you stop, you're going to have to build a new place to sit. You cannot sit on rocks or logs or the ground or anything else out here without immediately having that start sucking the body heat out of you, in the wintertime, losing your body heat and getting started towards hypothermia. So carrying a pad like this just makes life easier. So what I'm going to do gonna make me a place to sit right in here. Or kneel. Okay, I'm gonna readjust the camera so you guys can see, because we're gonna set the candle down here. I'm gonna move this out of the way for now. We're gonna set the candle down here. We're gonna light those 3 wicks. We're gonna wrap up inside the blanket, and I'll let you guys know if I start getting warm, because right now I'm getting colder. Okay, let me pause you and readjust. Okay. Let's light this. There we go. Now you want to be careful, obviously, when you do this, because I don't want to melt my blanket or get my blanket in the fire. And I almost did just that. Okay, I'm gonna sit down here. I got the candle right in front of me. You can just barely see it, unfortunately, but it's right here in front of me. And I'm gonna wrap this around me. With the candle inside. Holy mackerel. Holy mackerel. Oh my goodness. The second I close this, it feels like it's 70 degrees in here. Wow. Now, this is amazing. I wish I had a thermometer with you, and I'm not exaggerating. I am being serious. It is so warm inside this blanket right now that I could strip down to my t-shirt and stay warm. All around the front of me, all the way up to my face. I can even feel the heat's coming right up, hitting me in the face. It feels like it's 70 degrees inside this blanket. I could stay like this for hours and just be comfortable, get all my body heat back and get warm. Again, this is just another tool in the toolbox. But important thing again, you're just gonna have to make sure that the candle stays, away from your blanket so that it doesn't melt the blanket or catch the blanket on fire. I've got mine, 6 inches or so away. But the heat this is generating is absolutely amazing. And I really, really have to start bringing a thermometer. But this is great. What a great way to warm yourself. Maybe I'm out here viewing wildlife. Maybe you're a duck hunter, and you're sitting in a cold blind. Wrap one of these blankets around you, and it helps a little bit, but shove a candle underneath, especially like this one with 3 wicks. 16-hour burn time, you're good for the day. You can sit here for a couple hours. I can watch wildlife. There's been deer and all kinds of critters down coming and going from the creek. I can lean back up here in this stump and just sit and watch. And the amount of heat is warm. Very warm, very comfortable. So there is a great little survival tip for you guys. And it's cool, this little Exotac candle, the outside of this is nice and cool, so I can pick it right up. I'm going to leave this burning because we're going to try a little experiment, something that I've wanted to try for a long time. I'm going to pause you guys to set up. This is something I read, I'm going to say decades ago in a book. about using a coffee can and a candle to get warm and to cook on. And I'm not going to try the cooking on it today. We'll save that for a future video if it gets hot enough. But I'm going to try it for a makeshift heater and see how much heat that puts out. So let me pause you guys here. Okay, I'm not trying to do anything fancy. I just want to get an idea. So I made a half circle with this blanket. I got it behind me here, so it's blocking any wind from the side. I got it around that burned out stump here, and coming out over here in the front a little bit. I got an old coffee can. I just took a can punch. I punched holes around the bottom and around the top. I'm going to set the candle here, put this over top of it, fairly close to this blanket, and I want to get an idea what kind of heat this will generate. So, the candle right here. And we're just going to have to wait a few minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and pause you guys. Give it a few minutes for this metal to start heating up and let you know what kind of results we have. Okay guys, it's been about 4 minutes and this thing is putting out a little bit of heat. So I can't close us all in or you wouldn't be able to see. Ideally, we would do something real similar to what we just did. I would wrap the blanket around me or run another pole right across here in front of you guys and turn this blanket so it's coming here and turn and face the can and be just kind of enclosed all the way around. But I can tell you right now, it's definitely putting out some heat. I can feel it on my leg. I can feel it reflecting around here. So if we were closed in, I was closed in around this. Oh yeah. So just by closing that off, the heat just like quadrupled right here in this area. This feels like a little oven. So yeah, I would be back up in here close and sealed up in here with that. And it's basically a little stove. So any type of a shelter that you can build with a reflective blanket. And again, SOL heat sheet is your go-to because they will not tear easily like the Mylar ones. And even if you do force this through and poke a hole in it, which isn't easy, that hole will not keep tearing. I've done the video before. Okay, that is too hot to touch. So I'm gonna try something here. I got some Spam with me. And I'll just break off a piece of Spam. Oh, can you hear that? I hope you can hear that. It sounds like it's frying. It's frying. Wow. That's great. That is great. That. So I actually have cooked off one of these cans before, but not over a candle. We built a little fire and put the can over fire and cooked hotcakes on top of a full-size coffee can. So if you can hear that sizzling and it's smoking, the grease from the Spam, I'm cooking Spam on top of this. So this makes a nice little stove. This 3-burner candle will put out enough heat to heat this can to where it'll act like a little stove in an enclosed area. It's not doing much right now for heat except for right here. But when I closed it in, all that heat was trapped around me and I could immediately feel it. But it gets hot enough to cook off of. Look at that. Cooking up a piece of Spam. That is cool. So I've always wanted to do that. Like I said, when I was a kid at sixth grade camp, I think it was the last day of camp, they gave us all a big coffee can and some pancake batter, and we built a fire and put that on. Oh, and eggs. I remember that now. We cracked an egg and fried an egg on top and poured some pancake mix on top and made pancakes our last day of camp. But I've never done that with the candle. This is the first time I've used a candle under a coffee can. And so again, in a closed in area, it will make a nice little stove. And I don't know what exactly all I could cook on it, but I can definitely cook some Spam. You guys can see that there. It's frying. It's hot. It's steaming. Wow. Do not touch that can with your hands. This one, on the other hand, yeah, this is still cool to the touch. So that's a 16-hour Exotac candle. I'm going to let that sit here in the snow so all that wax gets hard again, and I can put that back in my pack and save it for a real emergency. So that's cool, guys. So we did a little quick tip here. You're cold, you're chilled. For some reason, maybe you couldn't get a fire started, or you in a spot that you can't have a fire. Maybe you're visiting a national park or something, but you got your survival gear with you. Light your candle, sit down on something that's insulated, or kneel down, squat down, whatever. Wrap the blanket around yourself and around the candle, and I honestly believe, I mean, it would have been, if I had a thermometer, it would have registered close to 70. The warmth was instant. It felt like I walked into my heated house from the cold outdoors. We just have a big old Stellar's Jay laying in a tree right here, and he's checking us out. So, and then we did a little experiment just to see, can we get a coffee can hot enough with a candle like that, an emergency candle to cook off the top? Well, it cooked Spam. So I imagine it would probably take a while, but I imagine actually we could set that on a little block of wood or a rock, elevate it up so it's much closer to the top, and then probably fry an egg or something really easy. And it also generated heat. When I was closed off this corner, I could feel all that heat. So in an insulated shelter, by insulated I mean you're enclosed in a space blanket that's all around you, so it'll trap heat. Candle's a great heating source. Coffee can with a candle under it's a great heating source and a cooking source. We might even come back. In fact, I'm curious sometime in the future about taking this candle, putting it in an Esbit stove, and seeing if it would generate enough heat to cook under that canteen cup that I just did a video on for you guys. Dan at Ochka Bushcraft, hope you liked this tip. Thanks for joining me on this little experiment with the coffee can, because that was new to me, and I like learning new skills whenever I get the chance as well. Take care, everyone.